Hello everyone, I'm the Vacuuminator.
I'm Buster.
And this week in Toku, we're going to be discussing new Ultraman Collector's merch, the debut of Zenkaiger's Six Ranger, and an avalanche of Kamen Rider 01 extra material. But before all that, Buster, how was your week?
It was eventful. I don't think it was. I think it's leaning more towards the bad side, but there's still a lot of good. Like I don't want to get too into specifics.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't want to get too into specifics, but yeah, it was very lots of things happened. Not even just in TWIT. Like I had to catch up like a lot for like the stuff we're covering today. So
yeah, I had a similar kind of week. I basically had to after a miserable work week, I will put it that way, and okay evenings. I had to kind of plant myself down on Saturday night to get through a couple of these movies.
Yeah,
but
honestly, the movies were the best.
No,
that
was.
I mean, not to jump ahead, but I kind of had some problems with the shows, but we'll get to those when we get to those.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the news then. And the first news story is kind of a funny merchandise thing I just felt like throwing in here, which is that Power Rangers X Reeboks collaboration shoes were revealed. These are going to be collector grade, like highly over-designed shoes for those of you who are into that. And they are going to be retailing for $65 a piece. And I gotta admit, these are pretty cool looking shoes. However, I would never pay like more than $35 for a pair of shoes. That's the kind of guy I am. How about you, Buster?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't pay. They look cool. I'm not going to pay for them. But this reminds me of back in middle school. My brother always scalped up shoes. So
yeah, and like that's something I've discovered in like the last year or so is that shoe collecting is apparently a major subculture these days. So these might become like a highly sought after thing on the aftermarket, but I'm certainly not interested enough in them to get them. Like if I was gonna buy them, I would wear them, and the only one here that I'm like, yeah, I might wear that is the Yellow Ranger shoes. I think those are pretty stylish.
Yeah, you could be like an Naruto from 01.
Hell yeah. I don't know if I've ever told anyone this on recording, but I was planning to do an Naruto cosplay at one point. I actually went out and bought green shoes that looked like Naruto's.
Nice. Now all you need is the Toei blazer and you're good.
Mm-hmm. I bought just a generic blazer and a generic red hoodie, and I was like, yeah, that and a pair of dress pants, and I'll be fine, because I have the 01 driver, so it'll kind of tie together. I don't need the official merch. And then the con I was planning to wear it to got shut down because COVID.
Was that happen to be Ranger Stop?
No, I was gonna wear it at a local toy convention that was also gonna be kind of a thing we went to as like an ending celebration for the Modular Summit back when that was gonna be a thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was actually planning to go to Ranger Stop, but then COVID happened, so
yeah. I do still want to go to a Ranger Stop if those ever happen again.
Yeah, but maybe we could do like a special edition TWIT there.
Yeah, live TWIT recording in the fucking back room at Ranger Stop.
Yeah, just in the bathrooms.
Yeah, why is there such a long line for the bathroom right now? It's not even lunchtime. But moving right along, we have a new premiere date for Super Battle Junretsuger, the movie, which we touched upon a while back when we got some cast reveals for that. It's going to be the movie for the miniseries that will be about a group of idol singers who defend a bathhouse from evil.
Yeah. Sounds like the best midlife crisis ever.
Mm-hmm. It's a whole thing. There's going to be a bunch of old Toku actors involved in that movie. We've talked about it before. It's one of those things where it's like, this doesn't super interest me. It's one of those kind of oddball just for like Japanese fans projects. But if it gets subbed, we'll check it out for this show, definitely.
Honestly, I think it looks pretty cool. I think it'll be like a neat novelty.
Mm-hmm. It's got a cool style to it. I like all the different colored suits they're wearing in the promo images here.
Yeah, very, very stylish. And I don't think we said the release date.
September 10th.
Yeah, which we probably won't cover this till next year, given DVD subs.
Yeah, and it's but hey, that'll probably will be the actual date this will come out on, because Japanese theaters are already starting to reopen, as well as American ones. And I talked about this a little bit on Components last night. I'm pretty sure the pandemic will be mostly over for most of the world by July, with how quickly vaccination is rolling out, at least here in the States and several other major countries.
God hope.
But don't hold me to that. Let's move right along, though, to the reveal of SH MonsterArts Gigan 2004 Great Battle version. This is a re-release of the SH MonsterArts Millennium Era Gigan with a few new parts that is coming out. I believe it says this will be coming out. There's not actually a release. Oh, September.
Yeah, September this year.
Yeah, and pre-orders are already live by the time you're listening to this. They're actually live right now. And this will be a Tamashii web shop exclusive. So if you want to pre-order this in the West, you better have a middleman service already lined up, or prepare for jacked up prices from the already kind of high asking price of $140 USD. Personally, I'm not going to be going after this right away. However, this is definitely one of those maybe later purchases for me, because fun fact, Gigan is my favorite Godzilla monster, and this is my favorite Gigan design.
Yeah.
So
I never seen Final Wars.
Want a good figure.
Yeah, I never seen Final Wars, but I've heard great things about it, and this figure looks pretty sick.
Yeah, it's just it reeks of badassness. But yeah, for those of you who don't already have the initial release, like myself, this will probably be a great alternative. So if you want to seek it out, definitely go ahead and do it, provided you're willing to stomach that price. But let's get on to some Super Sentai news, where we have the reveal / leak of TwoKaiOh, which is going to be TwoKaiser's mech in the show, via some toy product shots and really badly lit close-ups of what I'm assuming is the toy box. This mech, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not particularly a fan of the design. I think it looks really wonky. I think probably the better form is the O-Ranger form, but only just slightly. The ship is neat. I wouldn't mind having that ship as a model, but I don't know. I'm hoping these mechs look way better in the show.
Yeah. It gives me a Lupin X mecha vibes, where it's gold, silver, swapping, all that.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the entire design motif gives me Lupin Ranger vibes, so I'm yeah, it's I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Lupin Ranger's mecha, so I'm not. I'm feeling lukewarm on this.
Well, how do you feel about the little buddy robots, Tukai Ricky and Tukai Kuttner?
They're adorable. They remind me of those Legend Hero little guys.
Mm-hmm. Or SD Gundams was the vibe I was getting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not that big into Gundams, so I wouldn't know, but I think I kind of get what you mean.
Neither do. I'm not super into Gundam myself, but I've seen those designs around enough because I have a lot of friends who are into Gundam.
Yeah.
But that's all the Sentai news this week, so let's get on to Ultraman, where we have the full reveal of the Mezco 1/12 Collective Ultraman, which is going to be the original Ultraman. This is a glorious looking figure. I love all these product shots. I've already got a pre-order in on one of these. And I'm super excited to see it finally come out next year. It's going to be releasing in February of next year, and the suggested retail price is $105, which is slightly less than I predicted, so that's nice. But definitely will be a bit above some people's price range.
Honestly, my favorite part of this toy, they got the Ultra Brothers cape. That's such a cool. I love Ultraman with cape, so it's just I love that they included it here.
Yeah, the accessories and the features on this thing, they really went all out because you got the Ultra Brothers cape, the color timer and his eyes are gonna light up. He's coming with a cityscape that you can like pull apart to make it look like it's destroyed. He'll have a flight stand. He's coming with the jet VTOL that Hayata crashes in the first episode. An alternate head for the I beams, the circle thing, laser beam hands.
It really does feel like a
the
love
circular
letter.
thing. Mm-hmm. Like I really hope this figure is successful because with how all out they're going and how Mezco already kind of tends to do their like releases and continuing on with lines, they could get all the Showa Ultramen out very easily just going off of this buck.
Yeah, like I could totally see them doing like Ultra 7 and the other Ultra Bros.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully they eventually get up to some Heisei and new generation boys because you know how I like those more modern Ultraman designs.
Oh, I love a Tiga one.
Tiga, of course I gotta shout my boy Zet. A Victory would be great.
Victory's like my favorite
Yeah.
Ultra suit.
Yeah, and we got to get Baby L. They got to have a bad guy to fight eventually.
Yeah.
But speaking of other Ultraman, we also got a reveal for SH Figuarts Ultraman this week, which is the SH Figuarts Ultraman Zet base form, or original form as it's shown here in the graphic. We've only got a couple product shots of this thing. It hasn't been officially solicited yet, but it looks really good. It looks about as good as you could get a Figuarts of that suit, I think.
Yeah. It's a pretty. I think it's pretty cool. Honestly, I got nothing much to say. It's just cool.
And like having missed out on Alpha Edge and skipping Gamma Future due to the high price tag some sites were putting on that release, I think this is going to end up being my Zet. I think once this gets solicited, I'll put in a pre-order on one because it is going to be a regular retail release, going by the little bit of information we have so far.
Mm-hmm.
But that is all for Ultraman figure news. We do have a little bit of Ultraman trigger news, which is that the female character for this series has been revealed along with her casting, which is that, if I can find it right here,
yeah, her name is
Runa Toyoda will be portraying Yuma Shizuma. I would say is Shizuma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she is a very young, sort of new to the industry actress, and and they're going to be reflecting that in the character. She's like the 17-year-old junior member of the team. So I'm kind of interested in that, especially with the whole smile, smile, smile thing Trigger is supposed to have. Like maybe he's going to be kind of like an older brother to her. I think that could be a fun dynamic.
Actually, a big thing. You haven't seen Tiga, right?
I have seen like clips of the first episode.
Yeah, okay, because you see that organization Guts she's a part of?
Yeah, Guts Select.
That's Tiga's organization, Guts, and apparently this might be because Ultraman deals with parallel universes. This might be a parallel universe Guts. So
isn't Tiga off in its own universe?
Yeah, well, like all Ultramans are like when you boil it down, like even the new generation stuff, they take place in their like own. It's like Ultraman plays weird with continuity.
Oh, so it's like any other Toku then. I got the impression from parts of Zed that all there's like a main Ultraman continuity and then there's a couple offshoot continuities, kind of like.
Oh no, there's like nearly every Ultra series takes place in its own continuity.
Okay. All right, well that'll be interesting then.
Yeah, so like maybe that's what this might be like an alternate universe Tiga instead of just it's maybe the next generation Tiga is just what they're saying because it's sequel. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, if you are somebody who watches all Toku, as we've kind of had to become for the show, you'll probably recognize this actress because apparently she played a one-off character in Kira Major. She was, I believe, the Blue Ranger's crush in one episode.
Oh, what was the one with that goth aesthetic? that ended up crushing on Seo at the end?
I'm not entirely sure because I haven't seen any Kira Major. I just saw people talking about that on Twitter. But
okay. Because like I only remember one. Shigeru only got one crush.
no,
so at least
that's who this actress was portraying then.
Yeah.
But let's get a bit of miscellaneous news in here real quick, which is that the Kyoju Tokusou Juspion Soul of Chogokin GX97 Daileon has been revealed.
My mouth it hurts.
Yeah, that is a mouth-wordy name. But this is going to be a fully transforming, fully posable, high-end figure of Juspion's mech. And for those of you who haven't seen the show, I haven't either, but I pulled up a bunch of screen caps and compared it. This thing does look highly accurate, and if you've seen any reviews of Soul of Chogokin, you know that this is an extremely good line that has a lot of die cast, a lot of great articulation, and really fun and smart transformations built into it. It's kind of like the peak of Mecha Toys right now. So really cool that a semi-obscure Toku like Juspion is getting a release like this. However, because it is so high-end, that is going to run you quite the pretty chunk of change. This is currently set to retail for $172 in USD. And it's going to be pre-orders are already being accepted, and it will release in October of this year.
Gotcha. Honestly, I'm more interested in the Juspion figure that they have. I just really like that suit. But, like, you know, this mecha's still really cool. Like,
I believe that's the Figuarts it's standing next to.
Yeah. Now, maybe, honestly, I might just pick that Figuarts up just for have, like, a pretty face on the shelf.
Yeah, it's a great suit, and, like, Juspion is definitely one of those Metal Hero shows I want to check out at some point, because...
I mean, it's legally available on Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, no other Metal Hero has that, but just randomly Juspion got a release.
I think it had something to do with the fan subbers, I think, so...
Well,
speaking of fan sub...
Yeah, let's go ahead and get on to this. Kamen Rider Faiz got a Western release on the streaming service Toku HD, and you go ahead and take over, because I've only heard like a few snippets here and there about the questionable quality of these subs.
Okay, so Toku HD isn't a stranger to Kamen Rider, as they have also subbed and hosted Agito. Their Agito subs are very infamously bad within like just a year of them being released. You might have heard the phrase Honshin instead of Henshin. That's where the Agito subs are so
they're the Honshin guys?
Yeah, they're the Honshin guys.
That's not... Oh, dear.
Yeah. They've also, like, basically from what we've gathered on their translation process, they just do machine learning. They just put it through a machine. They don't actually subs.
So they're what's the term? They're speed subbers? Speed
subbers, yeah. And I get it. 50 episodes to sub is a lot, but come on, this is like this sub quality is ridiculously poor. Like, lots of misspellings, just completely off translation. Like,
I mean, it's only the first 10 episodes right now.
Really?
Yeah, that's what this article says.
That's interesting. But, like, still, the subs, like, you're better off using fan subs. And it just pisses me off saying that, because I want to support legal releases. But if you're going to put out something this piss-poor product, especially when Shout Factory has blown you out of the water with their Kuga and 1971 subs, and are about to do the 01 Blu-ray release, and also sub Ryuki, you need to step up your game, and you can't just, like, be lazy with it, especially with, like, a very critically acclaimed series like Faiz. Like, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but people love that series, including me, so...
I mean, like, just to throw my own hat in the water, I was going to say, I don't think this is a huge tragedy, because I've watched about the first 20 episodes of Faiz, and I hated it.
I mean, it's not even just like, again, it's not. Yeah. God, I'm stuttering. It's it's not even so much that like Faiz is the one to get this. It's just more that this is the second time that's happened.
That's true, and like the fact that they did it to that they're the Honshin guys, and that like I only knew Honshin like kind of as an extra thing in my mind. I didn't know that it was attached to these guys or that it was attached to Agito. And like Agito is a fan favorite show and one of those ones that I've always wanted to check out on the back burner. So to hear that they did that to Agito is a little annoying, honestly.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, it's the both Inoue series. Like
that's true. Maybe they have a direct deal with Inoue. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Yeah, it was all Inoue's fault.
Damn it, Inoue. You're not writing current writer shows, but you're still messing things up.
Actually, he's currently writing the Kaiksa manga.
Yeah, that's right. But like that's his character. That's okay.
Yeah, that's fun.
But that is all the news this week. So I've led us through all the news stories. We tried going back and forth, and we weren't really able to keep up with it last week. But I did all the news stories this week, and now Buster, why don't you take us through the new releases?
Okay, so first week without any Dino Fury, rip. Okay, weirdly enough, a bit of like before, like a little setup. On the week Dino Fury just left, all the Toku just started bringing their A game, as we see with Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger episode 8 going from world to world, door to door.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was so insane, but like a fun kind of insane.
Mm-hmm. I didn't really care for the middle chunk where it's just like a bunch of goofy like little skits with the whole door-to-door thing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. It was insanity and I loved it.
I mean, it was entertaining, but like I watched this episode twice and the second time I skipped all that. For me, it's really about the beginning and the end where they're building more of the Stay Caesar stuff and introducing my husbando.
Dang.
Yeah.
Because Fortnite's not the only one simping.
Yeah, it's I mean, like I've simped a long time, but this is the first male character I've wanted to simp for because can we blow the lid off this thing and talk about TwoKaiOh?
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
He's so good. He shows up like fucking Space Sheriff Gavan and sings a goddamn sea shanty, and his transformation device, which we were dunking on a couple weeks ago, is the fucking coolest thing ever. And the way he just goes right after Stay Caesar and fucking Zenkaiger backs off like, oh yeah, you want to take him out? Yeah, have fun with that. And then like we find out after the fight, which is a pretty solid introductory fight, that he has no idea what's going on actually. That's just great. I love him already.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, like honestly, a lot of people were posting like just clips of it. And I'm like, yes, give me like. Honestly, I like depending on how this next episode goes, he might be like one of my new favorite Six Rangers already. And I know like it's a bit sensationalist, but like, come on, he's just so good. And
I mean, obviously, I'm right there too.
Yeah, and also like I really recommend checking out his Henshin lesson video that they posted on the YouTube channel. It's very fun too. Also, they at the end they have a commercial for his toy, and he even does the dance like transformation dance in the commercial. Like. Honestly, it's just like everything from the suit. Like I know it's just another Gokai Red, but it's a very good repaint of Gokai Red. To like the little dance, the little mannerisms.
Gokai Red is already one of the best suits in Sentai. So like, why would you complain about getting it again?
Yeah, fair. I'm really thinking about buying his Henshin device so I can try to practice the dance.
I mean, like I already have the fucking Gear Tingler, and I was comfortable skipping Stay Caesar's gun, but after like how good it looked in this first episode, I might need TwoKaiOh's gun as well.
Yeah, especially since he actually like in a little spoilers for next week because they showed it in the Henshin lesson. He actually does different dances for his different forms as we're about to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and actually the cool thing is Shinkenger and O-Ranger, they're different he does different dances pertaining to the culture of each Sentai. So like I just find that really cool, and that also fits with his entire theme of world traveling pirate.
That's great. Oh man. Do you think, just to get into a little bit of theorizing real quick, do you think they're going to connect him back to Gokaiger at all? Do you think we're going to find out that like he was at one point a member of that crew?
Well, I do think they're gonna connect it. It's like even like a halfway, because in the preview we see him holding a picture of Gokaigers, so
Hmm.
he's obviously gonna mention them. So
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, I have major fingers crossed for that kind of thing. I'm not
yeah,
into the fan theory that's been floating around that Marvel has had kids with one of the girls from that show. Like, ew, no, especially so soon after that show and how old those actors are. No.
yeah,
But I do want him to be connected to that cast in some way,
yeah. I
especially
could
because that
totally
means
see.
we could maybe bring them back again at some point in the show. Please, 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 please.
Yeah, I could totally see like Marvelous showing up for like the final episode, leading a bunch of like when all the Sentai teams are free. I could totally see Marvelous leading the charge with like.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Marvelous and Yamato fucking standing together, leading all the other
Oh,
Sentais.
so good, so good.
I'd be there for that. But
Yeah.
let's get into some other parts of this episode real quick. Stay Caesar. How we feeling about Stay Caesar's development in this episode?
Oh yeah, actually, I really like his scene with like before the TwoKaiOh shows up, where like they're kind of interacting about their parents, like saying my parents abandoned me. Well, and like Kaito's like, well, I know my parents will save. Like that was a really good interaction.
Mm-hmm. The whole back and forth with him and Goshikida, is that the general's name? Or no, that's Kaito's last name.
Yeah, I
What's
was
the
just about to
general's
say.
name?
I think it was like Idrud
Uh
or something.
no, Ichiru's the wheelchair guy, the scientist man.
Oh yeah,
Um
General Guy.
yeah, General Tanks. We'll call him General Tanks.
Yeah.
He's revealed, well, confirmed to be Stacy's dad in this episode. And I think the whole thing.
Apparently,
Go ahead.
like apparently he's just like he's not the. I'm not sure
He's
if
a,
he's his only kid because he's had multiple wives. It's kind of like
he's freaking War Genome from Gurren Lagann is the thing, and I find that hilarious to be in Sentai.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that whole thing is super interesting. They set up a tragic backstory with Stacy that I hope we explore more, possibly lead to a redemption arc at some point.
Yeah, I could totally see them like Stacy doing like a 180.
Yeah. But no, this episode was good. This episode was really solid. I don't know if
Yeah,
I have too much else to say.
yeah, it's just a really fun episode. Zenkaiger's been knocking it out of the park. Okay, so I guess we're going on to Girl Gun Lady, episode 3.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. You're in charge here.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I was just waiting on like, dang. Yeah, Girl Gun Lady, episode 3, Valkyrie Descending. This was a little better than last week, but not by much.
I actually enjoyed this episode quite a bit, just mainly because I thought the new characters coming in or characters getting a more prominent role, and some of the action in this episode was much improved.
Yeah. Okay. So, I don't know, like the characters are solid. I'm just honestly, just personally, I'm not that invested.
Hmm. That's fair. I mean, it has been pretty bland up until this point. I think it's like starting to turn around, especially with like the questionable ethics of the new girl on the pink team.
Yeah.
Um, the only thing I really had a problem with this episode is like there's a scene where they talk about like oh, she taught you how to build model kits. That must mean like she's gonna have a super good gun, and she does get a good gun by the end of the episode. But they act like the fact that she has known how to do models longer than main character girl will inherently make her gun better. And I'm like, that's weird logic. That's weird, even for this
Like
show.
any craft, like I can guarantee you, like I've been doing video making as like for a long time. There's people who've done it for less that are doing it way better than me.
I mean, like I've been on you. I've been making videos for 10 years. Scott the Waz has been making videos for like 4 or 5 years. Who's more successful? uh,
So excited for that 200th episode. Anyway, yeah, I got nothing else to say. It was fine. I'm very like, if it wasn't for this podcast, I would probably drop the show.
that's fair. Well, like I said, I thought this episode was improved, but definitely it's still not a great show. It's gone from like a D to like a C. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't have anything.
Oh yeah, should we finish the Genims? Genims, the President, episode 2. I don't think it had a name.
What do you mean it didn't have? Oh yeah, it didn't have a name, or at least I forgot to write it down if it did have one because I usually write the names down. I thought this wrapped up nice.
Oh yeah, it was very insanity, but it was fun kind of insanity. Like I love like Kronos and Genom fighting.
Yeah, when they're just like rolling along that railing, yelling at each other to die.
Just like that was hilarious, and it was just great to see because Kronos was like I think I've told the story before, but Kronos was actually my first username on YouTube, so it was like I have a little nostalgic connection to him. So.
Yeah, and I mean we got a potentially evergreen reaction image out of him this episode in when he just fucking yells at Kuruto, "You should never have been born."
Oh, dang. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like the end of the episode when they just start hugging it out, that was great too.
Yeah, just a little like the heart shaped in the sky and like Guy like I need to rewatch 01 to make sure like about Guy's redemption arc, but like kind of seeing how Guy was at least supposedly supposed to grow as a character, that was nice.
I hope this isn't the end for him. I mean, they do a game over question mark kind of a thing, but I feel
apparently, like he's part of the arc now, according to the like end of it. But but judging on Metsubo Jinrai movie, which we'll get to soon, I don't think the arc's coming back. And I don't.
We'll see. I mean, we still got Vulcan and Valkyrie, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get one more after that because frickin' they did an X8 ending trilogy, and this is the same writer.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do like a 01 versus Genom or something. Speaking of 01, we finally got the movie subbed. Kamen Rider 01, the movie. Real X time. You want to go?
I fucking loved this movie. This is the best. This is the best Rider movie since Be the One.
I have not seen Be the One, surprisingly enough. I will get to it for my.
Be the One is so good, dude.
I know, but like, I don't know. Like, I saw True Ending, but I never saw Be the One. I don't know. I'll get to it for the build review. True
Ending sucks, but Be the One. Ooh, Be the One.
Yeah.
The director. I feel like I didn't check. But I think they probably had the same director for this movie as Be the One.
Let me check.
There was some super stylish action in this stuff. Like
it was insane. Like the action scene, it was like insanity. Like where it's like the world is literally ending or stuff.
That bit when Valkyrie's on a dirt bike in an alley. Oh my god! I haven't seen such good bike action on Rider literally since Be the One. Be the One opens with an awesome bike chase.
Yeah, I think I've seen like bits of it. Okay, so the director is Teruki Sugihara. He has only done 01 and Saber, and he also directed Reiwa: The First Generation.
Interesting.
He's directed some of the best episodes of Saber, like the final episodes. So
yeah, and like even in the non-action stuff, there was some really cool framing. Like there's a great shot of Aruto on a train that comes early on in the movie. Aesthetic movie.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful movie, but it's also it feels like a great celebration of 01 in a way because I'll get I don't know it doesn't focus too much on character minus the new character in Aruto, but seeing the side characters getting their little quips and stuff was great, especially seeing how far Hirobi and Jin have grown.
Yeah, it definitely gave me that feel that anime tie-in movies are supposed to, of this is just another adventure with this cast. This isn't necessarily a continuation of the story, except for the fact of certain forms being available and certain characters being in certain places. You could kind of slot this story, this plot, into any point in the series and it would still work.
I guess you could, but that's a bit nitpicky. I'm saying, mainly because of the Metsubo Jinrai stuff, not the V Cinema, the characters.
Yeah, but I mean, the villain plot, the villain plot, and all the characters dealing.
Yeah, Eden or Ez, whatever we're gonna call him. He was a very good villain. I really hate what they did to him at the end. Okay, let me explain. So, spoilers. We're gonna get full spoilers for the movie.
Hell yeah.
So Eden, I don't mind what they did to him. I just don't like what they did with his power set and like. Okay, it's not Eden I hate. I just realized it's not Eden I hate. It's Lucifer because Lucifer is a different Kamen Rider, and he's just some random dude that follows him. That was a bit lame.
I liked the reveal partway through the movie that like all his minions were just random chuds from message boards.
Yeah,
but then
that was
when
great.
one of them becomes the big bad, when one of them becomes the final boss, I was like, that's a little cheap. I would have liked a fight with him that leads to him deciding to be redeemed.
Yeah, like kind of like what they did in the final episode with like Hirobi and stuff. Like I feel like, actually, speaking of Hirobi, he gets a lot of great moments in this movie, both character and like action wise. Like honestly,
he's great. Oh my gosh.
Even Guy, he's like he gets some like interrogation, like presidential, like the interrogation scene was weird.
No, that scene was hilarious, dude. With all the fucking returning Humagears.
Okay, yeah, that was cute, but like I don't know how I feel about the guy that they just took off all his clothes and like my eyes.
I mean, fair enough, but like he was a fine enough looking dude.
Yeah, fair.
I did like the gag of like him turning to face the characters, but the camera is still facing him, so he moves the plate to cover his ass, and everybody's like, "Dude, your junk's hanging out now." And it's like, "But the movie."
What else?
Freaking the little side plot of dealing with the AI jets that Fua and Jin go on. That was awesome.
Those shots are crazy. Like
like that. The effects in this movie too are really, really good for Kamen Rider. Like not necessarily MCU level, but I would say, like for Kamen Rider, for Toku in general, they're really, really good.
Yeah, I actually, especially the final rider kick with like Izu and Aruto. Although I kind of the way Izu becomes a Kamen Rider, that felt a bit rushed. Like I like the scene where she like reunites with her old self. That was fine.
It didn't feel rushed. It felt kind of like an afterthought. Like, oh yeah, we can do this. Let's do this.
Yeah, that an afterthought's like the best way. I mean, especially since like I thought there would be this big scene where she puts on the driver, and then literally like after she reunites with Aruto, it's just she has a driver. Okay.
It wasn't even that. It felt like they went, we have two drivers. Let's both put them on.
Yeah. Other than that, I think I don't think it's like the best Rider movie ever. Honestly, if I'm gonna be honest, I like the V Cinema more that we're about to cover. But like, this was still a really darn good movie. Not to underplay, it's like very like this. And I mean,
when I say this is the best Rider movie since Beta 1, I mean like it's the best recent Rider movie since Beta 1. I still think the best Rider movie ever is Geo.
Yeah, you mean Zeto?
Oh yeah, Zeto. Damn it! Too many writers with similar spellings. I'm getting sick of it. You got Zeto, you got Geo, you got 01. It's a mess.
Yeah. Speaking of messes, 01, others, Kamen Rider Mezco Jinrai.
You read my mind.
Okay, this wasn't okay. Honestly, what I was referring to the mess is like just the plot. This is clearly so. I'm gonna be honest. This is clearly meant to be like a scene. Like they clearly knew Valkyrie and Vulcan was coming, so they gave like a little sequel opening. I love this
definitely
movie.
feels like the first part in a 3-part story.
Yeah, and for a first part, even if everything goes downhill, I love this movie. It is
really
so. Yeah, I love it. Mainly because I just love the Mezco Jinrai characters. And seeing those scenes of like Jin and like Hirobi and like even like the little bits of Ikazuki and Naki, it was just so
weird that they didn't show up to like halfway through.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. But like the Hirobi and Jin dynamic was still like as strong as it always has been. And I especially like the scene where like spoiler alert, Azu dies. I know my friend's gonna be sad about that one because that was so
great. Like how it completely comes out of nowhere, but still feels awesome.
Yeah, but I like the scene where like they mourn her, like put her in this like flower bed, and they're like, you know what? Yeah. She was kind of a devil, but like she was
still a Humagear. She was still one of us. And like I love that Jin's got a little flower garden going too. That's such a cool character touch.
Yeah, and it's like very fits with his free-spirited nature. The villain was so good.
Oh my
Kamen
god,
Rider Faiz.
I loved him. He reminded me so much of Pasaiga from the Faiz movie.
Oh yeah, but didn't like Pasaiga get like only 5 lines in that movie?
Yeah, instead you get in this movie, this guy has tons of lines, and every other line is English, and it's great.
Yeah, like he's like, come on, and it's like, this is like evil Terry Bogard, and I love it.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I hope this tradition continues for all the 01 movies, because this guy and Eden both had very aesthetic looks to them, befitting of 01 characters. Like, I don't know, 01 has such a good fashion sense to it, and that continues on with these new characters introduced in these movies. So I hope it keeps going through Vulcan and Valkyrie and whatever the third Others movie ends up being.
Yeah. But yeah, I really like the scene where they're all when Kamen Rider Mezco Toyz is formed. I really like that, like they're all formed. It's hard to describe it in words, but it's just something about this movie, like from the action to the suits to the.
There's a great feeling between them in that scene of like, yeah, this is gonna suck, but we have to do it in order to protect each other, and we all love each other. It's not even something we have to say; we just know it. So yeah, we're gonna do this.
And I also love how they like, even though it's one belt, they all wear the belt and like they all transform. Like, you know, so everyone gets belt. It's like it's not like one person and then they all like form around them. I don't know.
Kind of reminds me of how the Dragon Knight Hunter Gashat was shared in Xaid.
Yeah. Although this time they're forming like one person instead of like a bunch of like parts. Also, let's talk about the like. I already love the Desire repaint of Thouser's suit was great, but like I know I was a bit lukewarm on Mezco Toyz's suit. I love it now. I feel like seeing it in action. I love it.
It definitely looks way better in motion. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I didn't like it as much as Real X Time. But it is a very good V cinema.
Yeah, it's honestly probably my new favorite Rider V cinema. And then comes the ending. Can I talk about the ending? Because this took me a while to process.
Yeah, we already did a spoiler warning. Go for it.
Okay, so the end of the movie is like, okay, if we're gonna transform into Mezco Toyz to like free the human gears, that backfires because now the Mezco Toyz suit just goes nuts and kills Zaya, kills the Zaya guy, and also kills their bodies. And now it's out for blood. That's going to lead to the next movie because it's already been confirmed that Mezco Toyz's villain form, like if you see the poster for Vulcan and Valkyrie, the villain is going to be Mezco Toyz. And then the movie ends with like everyone screaming in pain, like in this Mezco Toyz suit. That traumatized me.
Yeah, that was kind of a scary downer ending. But like I said, clearly the first part of a 3-part series, and I'm willing to bet second part is going to be, because they're in this movie a little bit and they're set up to be wanting to deal with this problem. Vulcan and Valkyrie is going to be about Fua and Yaiba trying to save them.
Yeah, I mean, like we already got that great scene with like Fua, like and Hirobi, like earlier saying, you know, if you guys go rogue, I'm gonna have to defeat you, and they're like, yeah, that was a great scene. Like honestly, there's just I just really hope the other 2 parts are great because like this is a really good first beginning, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Although I didn't like the ending song as much, it was fine, but like I think Real X Time had like a bigger hit ending song. I don't know.
Yeah, Real X Time had some great moments to it as well.
Oh yeah, especially with like I want to mention this when the Aruto and Izu fight together. They basically combined all 3 of 01's insert songs into this one grand instrumental.
It was so good. I hope we get a single release for that.
Oh, there already was. There was already a single release of it. Like I'll link it to you soon. But, like, there was already
sweet. I want to listen to that while I'm working out sometime.
Yeah, I'll send it to you while you talk about your old stuff.
Yeah, because that's all the new releases we have for this week. So we're gonna get on to our old stuff and toys segment. And I only have one old thing for this week, which is that literally right before we started recording, I took it upon myself to start a new to me show. I watched the first episode of Ginga, which is the Garo spin-off starring Mashiro Inoue, aka Kamen Rider Decade, as the title character Jinga. And this character had already appeared in a couple Garo shows before. He was a knight who had turned to the dark side, basically. And this is kind of a prequel setting up how he got there. Even though we've already had a prequel material for him in Makai Retsuden, we saw how him and his wife, his wife, he was kind of like, he had a Harley Quinn and Joker thing going on, except not explicitly, just in the general dynamic. With his wife in the show, he appeared as a villain in. And we saw an episode about how they first met in Makai Retsuden, and I think this series is supposed to be chronicling how he gets to the point he is in that episode of Retsuden. And so far it's really interesting because they've done kind of a coup for a Garu show, and they've already shown us his tragic backstory right out the gate. We know what's up with him, and it's less about trying to figure out who he is, and more so like when the other shoe related to this backstory is gonna drop. Because basically, Jinga grew up as part of a big fancy Makai Knight family. His dad was a Makai Knight, and he had trained under his dad to become a Makai Knight, and he had a little brother who was about to go into training, and he lived in a big palatial estate with his brother and his dad and his mom, and they were a big happy family until his dad got possessed by a horror and killed his mom right in front of their little brother, and he had to save his little brother, but through a big old coinky-dink, the little brother thought that he was the one who had killed the mom. And then the little brother got knocked out, and so he killed the dad, but he had a lot of hesitation about it, of course. And now he's kind of haunted by the spirits of his parents. And a priest, actually, who I'm assuming is like a family friend, because he's in that scene as well. A priest went and erased the little brother's memories of that night because they didn't want him to grow up traumatized over his parents' death. And the first episode is very much about him hunting a horror with his priest sidekick character, who's kind of like Rianne from the Ryuga Garo shows, and they fight this horror that's possessing a woman who has 2 kids, and the whole thing with that horror is it feeds on the sort of negative side of a mother wanting to do anything to protect her children, and she gets up to some nasty stuff trying to protect those kids, is all I'll say. And of course, because of that, he's haunted by the spirits of his parents, and he doesn't want to orphan these kids by killing their mom, but because she's possessed by a horror, there's really no other choice. He does end up doing it by the end of the episode. And in the end of the episode, that's when he reunites with his little brother, who's now apparently going to be a part of the main cast, along with the priest girl. And the setup for the show is basically that he's going to try and be a good knight going forward, not have any more hesitation, and also raise/train his little brother, which very much makes me think, okay, eventually that kid's memories of that night is going to get unlocked, and he's going to be pissed at Jinga. Potentially they'll fight. Potentially there will be a tragic death for the little brother, leading to Jinga being pushed towards the dark side for his inevitable turn. Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think it's for a prequel, because there's a lot of people out there who don't like prequels, especially in tokusatsu. I think it was very solid, and I would recommend checking it out, at least from the first episode. I'm going to try and watch 1 or 2 episodes a night going forward, so I'll have an update for this by next week.
Yeah. Well, I think I tried watching Jinga, but like I stopped. I don't know. I felt like I need to watch the other Jinga material beforehand.
That's totally fair.
Yeah. So my old stuff is gonna be short because I just did a video on this stuff. Kamen Rider Build. I finished the first arc of Kamen Rider Build. I also literally spent most of this morning editing the review for that.
So, everybody go to Buster's channel. It's linked in the video description.
Yeah, please. I worked very hard. I had my friend script check it, and I'm really proud of what we did. So yeah. I just got enough. Build's great. Go watch Build. I'll probably talk more about the second arc soon because I have to start watching that for the part 2.
Nice. Anything else that we want to get into?
Nope.
All right. Well, then go ahead and tell the people who you are and where they can find your stuff, Buster.
Sup, I'm Buster Corp. I do YouTube video essays. I'm very I don't think it's to tie into this podcast. I'm just really in a tokusatsu mood. I'm doing a lot of Toku video essays at the moment. Just released one on Kamen Rider Build on the first arc of it, and also that time 4Kids dubbed Ultraman Tiga. So please check those videos out, and I think they're pretty good.
Excellent. And you can find me anywhere on the YouTube. There is a username, The Vacuuminator, which is TheVacuuminator. I make vlogs, toy reviews, and media analysis. I'm currently on a hiatus for making solo content, though, so you will be checking out my backlog if you search any of that out. However, if you want to keep up to date with everything I'm doing, go ahead and check me out on social media at The Vacuuminator, and that will be on Twitter and on Instagram at @_Vacuuminator. Sorry, got that a little fumbled there. But something I'm not going to fumble is that this podcast is a part of Modular Media. So do us a favor, show your support for it by giving it a follow on whatever platform you're listening to. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe, ring the bell to enable notifications, and get every episode of all of our podcasts releasing each and every week, including but not limited to Modular Components, our flagship show where myself and the other full-fledged members of the group sit around and shoot the shit every Sunday night, Modular Media Wrestling Podcast, or MMWP, and Modular Media's No Prize Podcast, our Marvel and general comic books discussion podcast. And if you want to keep up to date on releasing and other information for all that stuff, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Modular Media and join our subreddit r/Modular Media. But that is going to do it for this week in Tokusatsu. We'll see you next week when we find out what happens that week in Tokusatsu.